It's really a great pleasure to be here today at the first Zabbix Conference Germany online this time. Well, hopefully next time we'll meet in person in some nice city of Germany. But anyway, yes, my name is Alexei Vladishev. I'm founder and CEO of Zabbix. I've been working on Zabbix for more than 20 years. And today I would like to have a short talk about why Zabbix. So what challenges we face and how Zabbix may help to introduce a good level of monitoring to you and to your company. But before I start, I would like to thank the sponsors of the conference for your support. Well, thank you very much, our partners and our sponsors. So nowadays, most of the companies are very much in the digital transformation journey. It means that many companies are moving from maybe older systems, older technologies, from a traditional kind of hardware to a newer technologies and newer protocols. And of course, we all want that the systems we use, and including monitoring tools and monitoring platforms, would support both maybe older and newer systems. And of course, there are a number of challenges when it comes to a digital transformation. And first of all, it's management of and monitoring of older systems and newer systems. In many cases, we have quite a mix of different technologies and different systems, and we all want to have it under control. Many companies right now are in the middle of the transformation to a hybrid cloud technologies, maybe to Kubernetes and OpenShift platforms. And I would say it's not only a change of a technology per se, but it's also it's a change of the mindset, how we think about IT infrastructure. We think how to make our processes and IT infrastructure much more agile, much more flexible. We really want our IT infrastructure to support the primary kind of the business of our companies. And of course, the scalability and high availability of all systems is really important and really critical. And especially the security, it's one of the maybe top priorities of the CIO, C-level executives right now. The security is super important these days. And of course, we all want that our systems, the systems we use, are cost effective. So, and of course, there are a number of challenges which are specific to monitoring. So when we're selecting a monitoring tool, we really want to make sure that the monitoring tool we use is scalable and it provides a high level of availability. This is especially important with the growing number of devices. When we are moving from a traditional, maybe virtualization to say microservices or containerization, there could be many containers, many services, microservices, pods. So it's really introduces additional challenges for monitoring infrastructure as well. And of course, most of us already faced or facing so-called the multiple tools problem when we have different services and different solutions and different maybe the hardware from a different vendors, all using their own monitoring tools. And the main challenge here is to have a kind of a single pane of glass, a kind of a centralized system when we can basically collect all the data, analyze this data, to have the central console for all the problems the monitoring tool detects with a centralized alerting and user management. So it's really important, and we at Zabbix are trying to build such a system. And nowadays, with the rise of maybe artificial intelligence, with machine learning, it's also important to get most of the data. So it's not only kind of threshold-based monitoring, but also it's about getting additional insights out of the data we have. So this is really, really important. When a monitoring tool tells us, hey, you have some issues in your system, please have a look. So centralized visualization reporting, super important. And again, the new processes for monitoring. So it's not a kind of a traditional process when our systems are pretty much static, but now we are working in a dynamic environment, which is powered by machine learning and artificial intelligence. So what is Zabbix? I'd like to remind you. So Zabbix is universal, free and open source enterprise level monitoring solution, which is backed by the excellent support from our commercial support from our partners and from the vendor itself. So again, it is free and open source, yet it's backed by a vendor. And Zabbix is a universal solution in the sense that it's not focused maybe specific on the server monitoring or a network monitoring or monitoring of performance or availability or container monitoring. We are trying to build all-in-one solution, which basically contains all features you need for monitoring. So Zabbix has great capabilities when it comes to data collection. It has great capabilities when it comes to problem detection in real time, anomaly detection, visualization, also alerting, escalations, and also automation, so that Zabbix can be part of your CI/CD pipeline. So for the automated deployment. So it's very, very important. And Zabbix is a single product, and it's free and open source, and it doesn't have any restrictions. So basically, all enterprise grade features, you may expect it to be paid features like say single sign-on, or maybe some advanced user permissions, or all types of restrictions. There are no restrictions to Zabbix whatsoever. So all enterprise grade features comes as a part of a Zabbix product. Cost effectiveness is super, super important, and Zabbix is a really cost-effective solution due to the nature of Zabbix. It's free and open source. It costs nothing to try it out, to see if it works, if it fits your use cases. It's backed by reliable vendor and a great level of commercial services, different commercial support agreements, the training services. There will be a special talk about this. No limits whatsoever, and all information about Zabbix, how to use this product, how to use a product, the capabilities of Zabbix. It's all there in the Zabbix documentation, how-tos, community resources like forums, and so on and so forth. And I think also another quite important thing that it's not so hard to find a good Zabbix engineers around. So Zabbix is a rather popular solution. Therefore, the knowledge of Zabbix is there. So it's not so difficult to find and hire a good Zabbix engineer or train your existing engineer. And the cost is fully under control. Well, Zabbix is flexible also in terms of the deployment. So you may deploy Zabbix as an on-prem solution, no problem. We do provide packages for nearly all operating systems and distributions. Red Hat, SUSE, no problem. You want to deploy Zabbix in Kubernetes, we support it. Or Red Hat OpenShift, no problem. We do provide Docker images as well. If you want to deploy Zabbix in the cloud with just one-click deployment it's also available for basically for all the most popular clouds around: AWS, Google Cloud Platform, Azure, and we also do provide one-click deployment for OpenStack and OpenShift and Red Hat platforms. So you have a choice, okay? If you want to follow, say, traditional way of managing IT infrastructure, or if you're concerned about the security, or you have some compliance related restrictions, okay, you may deploy Zabbix on-prem. That's fine. Otherwise, you are absolutely free to deploy it in the cloud. Any cloud is yours. Well, with Zabbix, again, you may monitor absolutely anything. So Zabbix is able to collect information out of different sources using some traditional protocols, say like SNMP or IPMI, get data out of, say, SSH protocol, even Telnet protocol, whatever. And also we do support IoT like Modbus, MQTT. And of course, Zabbix is able to kind of more modern data collection over HTTP protocols. And on our webpage on zabbix.com/integrations, you can find a very extensive list of vendors, systems, and applications. Zabbix is able to monitor basically out of the box. There are more than 600 of such integrations available for you. Some of them are officially supported by Zabbix. Some of them are made and prepared by community members. And it's about monitoring. So you have some devices from different vendors. There is a great chance that those devices can be monitored by Zabbix out of the box. You just go there, download a template, deploy it into your Zabbix system, and here it is. And Zabbix is also integrated with many systems like ticketing and ITSM systems like, Jira or OTRS or some solutions from BMC or Zendesk. It's all there. And Zabbix also provides, again, out-of-the-box integration with the most popular and widely used alerting systems. Could be Microsoft Teams or Slack or Discord or, well, PagerDuty, Opsgenie, and many, many others. This is just an incomplete list of integrations which are available out of the box. And even if something is not available here, you cannot find it in this list or the previous list, it's really easy to create a new integration. In many cases, it's just a matter of writing maybe 10 or 20 or 30 lines of JavaScript code and make this integration thanks to support of webhooks. I mentioned earlier that security is a very important topic for many executives right now. And in Zabbix, Zabbix is secure on all levels, basically. If you look at the design of Zabbix and the different components like proxy, the Zabbix database or a Zabbix server or Zabbix agent, we build so many features to make sure that Zabbix communicates and collects data in a very, very secure way. For example, on agent side, you may specify what checks are available. Yeah, what checks will be supported by this specific agent, and no other checks could be executed. Of course, the whole communication between all Zabbix components and including the database, it's all using TLS, or maybe between agent and proxies and server can be. We may also use a pre-shared key encryption. What else? Zabbix UI, two-factor authentication, single sign-on. Now we support the password complexity and audit log, so that all changes basically are recorded, so we can see who did what. Yeah. So, for example, if we perform some actions using API or some user does something in Zabbix front end, then everything will be recorded. Again, it's really important, especially for compliance. And in Zabbix, Zabbix is a monitoring tool, and it may contain some sensitive information like some passwords, I don't know, some SNMP, community strings, other types of sensitive information, usernames, maybe some API tokens, whatever. Now, well, you may basically keep all the secure information outside of Zabbix, okay, in a secure vault. And we do support now HashiCorp Vault. And in Zabbix 6.2, this is the next major release of Zabbix, we are supporting keeping of secret information in a cyber arc. This is enterprise level solution for secret management. Just recently, I guess a few months ago, we have introduced our public security advisory and the CVE database. Actually, we have write permissions to CVE database, and if some security related issue is discovered by our engineers or is being reported by independent security researchers, normally it takes just a couple of days or a few days if we really understand that this is a security issue that has to be fixed. So it takes just a couple of days to get it fixed. So if you're so much interested about the security of Zabbix, okay, on our website on zabbix.com/security advisors, you may find a very up-to-date information about different security findings in our product. So we really try to keep all information very transparent to our users and customers and partners. Zabbix also provides a very good level of control for user permissions with the support of a user roles, with ability to define what actions are available to users from different user groups. You may also specify, for example, what API methods are available to certain users. Okay, so this is a very fine-grained support of user permissions. So, and also another great thing about Zabbix is that you may specify what parts of Zabbix front end are visible to different user roles. So, for example, if you have a customers and you monitor environments of those customers, you may tell that this customer or end user would have permissions to see dashboards only, or maybe a problem view only and nothing else, with read-only permissions there. Or if you have, for example, some integration with a third-party system, you may specify exactly what API methods are available. Okay, so this is a very, very nice way of managing user permissions. I have to say that Zabbix became a very powerful solution for MSP type of users. So basically, Zabbix can be used as an additional source of revenue. You may basically provide a monitoring services to your customer and charge for this. You may provide some sort of a customer portal, which would be a combination of user roles. So you restrict what information is visible to your users, you monitor. We do provide the rebranding options for Zabbix, again, out of the box. SLA reporting and scheduled reports is all there. So it's really a nice platform for MSP type of users of Zabbix to think about providing additional monitoring services, maybe paid services to your customers. Machine learning, statistical analysis, of course, artificial intelligence is a really hot topic. And Zabbix is able to detect anomalies. It does provide a trend prediction functionality. Zabbix is able to generate a very nice insights when it analyzes data, older data. It may generate you a nice insights about something, some anomalies it detects. For example, the number of new user registration is down 12% last week. Okay. That is not, it's not monitoring which is based on some thresholds, but it is monitoring, it's smarter monitoring when Zabbix detects anomalies and it alerts users that, hey, here is anomaly, please have a look. It's something unusual, maybe something unusual happened with systems you monitor. All right, so this year, Zabbix 6.0 LTS was released. It was quite a big event for us because it's LTS, long-term, with 6 major release with long-term support. And the next talk from Wolfgang will be specifically about the new functionality about 6.0. So I won't tell you anything about it. It's all about Wolfgang, next talk. So it was released a couple of months ago. And you may ask, so what's coming next? What is kind of maybe our vision and our plan for the next releases of Zabbix? And I would like to shed some light on the main vectors and directions for Zabbix development. And of course, we'd like to introduce a functionality which would be useful not only to a smaller and mid-sized companies, but also for large enterprise customers, which have very demanding, which are very demanding when it comes to new features and new requirements, basically. So, of course, we are working constantly on improving the usability of Zabbix. It's mostly related to the Zabbix front end, how it looks like, is it easy to operate, how many clicks, mouse clicks it requires to make some very specific, some generic operations. We would like to extend the visualization and reporting. I will talk about this a little bit later. Event and problem handling and processing. Okay, I have a special slide about this. And we are always thinking about extending the scope of monitoring, because Zabbix is a really powerful platform. It collects data, it analyzes collected data, and then it reacts to the data somehow. And this pattern can be applied also to compliance monitoring. It could be applied to APM, application performance monitoring, maybe log monitoring, monitoring of services of a public and a private clouds. And those are directions we'd like to move right now. What else? Zabbix is flexible, it's really powerful. And again, we're working hard on making sure that nearly all features of Zabbix can be extended in one way or another. So we already support modules for UI. We support webhooks to extend Zabbix functionality. Also to make Zabbix easily, to make Zabbix to integrate easily with other systems. And also, of course, we would like to introduce additional methods to add additional level of flexibility to Zabbix, like trigger functions, like support of a new storage engines, support of agent plugins, UI modules, and third-party widgets, webhooks, and so on and so forth. So I guess we already did around 50% of this work, and we need to make it even more extendable. And of course, the high availability, scalability, and load balancing is super, super important. So talking specifically about Zabbix 6.2, 6.4, and 7.0, it's about this year and maybe half of the next year. At this moment, all users in Zabbix are managed internally, and it would be great to introduce support of external management of user in Active Directory or using SAML authentication, so that you can create users in your, say, Active Directory, and then those users would automatically be created in Zabbix. So you don't need to manage your users in Zabbix anymore. It's coming very soon. And user synthetic monitoring. We support it already to some extent, thanks to web monitoring we have now in Zabbix, but it's not, I would say, flexible enough. For example, it has a limitation that we do not support websites having the JavaScript, for example, built in. All right, and end-user synthetic monitoring will allow us to test, to monitor external web application or a website to see if they work properly, if performance is okay, and if they deliver the content we're expecting to. Security and compliance monitoring, the whole infrastructure is there. We know how to collect data. We know how to detect problems. now we have internal, basically the engineers who know the security and who know the compliancy. So it's just a matter of time before we introduce the monitoring of the compliance. Zabbix for multi-data center scenario. We'll talk about this in this slide, actually. So multi-data center monitoring, it means that, for example, we have a few data centers in a different cities. So we'd like to monitor those data centers independently with one Zabbix server per each data center, for example. Yeah, if one data center gets disconnected for some reason, it would still be locally monitored by a local Zabbix server. But from the other hand, we'd like to have, again, single pane of glass, like centralized dashboarding, and we would like to have maybe a different Zabbix server which would collect events coming from a local data center. So this use case is quite important, and I believe it will be supported quite soon as well. What else? Ability to receive events from other systems. So nowadays, Zabbix is collecting time series data, different metrics, and then it generates events. It would be nice to enable collecting of events out of different events. Visualization, event correlation engine, and enterprise alarm console. Let's talk about this a little bit. So event correlation engine is about ability to basically to reduce noise. When we have many events generated by Zabbix, we want to understand what is the most important events and what events can be ignored. That's why we need event filtering, deduplication, maybe event enrichment. It all helps to understand what is the root cause of our issue, and it really limits the number of events we have to look at. Enterprise alarm console or problem console, it's about ability, again, to reduce noise by maybe hiding problems we are not interested in, by suspending some problems. If we know that the problem cannot be resolved in 2 hours, then we just suspend it for 2 hours, and it will just disappear from the problem console. And the design of the alarm console needs to be so that it would basically helps us to troubleshoot things, to work on the problem. So it's basically the monitoring problem view, but with additional features and additional visualization capabilities. And new visualization capabilities, obviously, is super important. So many users, many users nowadays, they use a combination of Zabbix and the Grafana, which is really powerful combination for advanced visualization from one hand, but from the other hand, we really want Zabbix to introduce state-of-the-art visualization capabilities. So you don't want to use external systems, and it would really simplify the deployment of your monitoring tools. It's like a new widgets for visualization reporting, advanced templated dashboards, and top-end reporting, which is already part of 6.0, but it needs to be extended even more. So next, APM. It's a huge topic, application performance monitoring. We still need to figure out how to approach it. Cloud native and log management. So log management, it's all about ability to introduce much more comprehensive and advanced log monitoring. Yes, right now, Zabbix support log monitoring. It's able to collect Windows event logs, plain text log files, but of course, we want to make it much more easier to use. Yeah, that's the challenge. And regarding the cloud nativeness of Zabbix, it's all about making sure that Zabbix is able to be scaled horizontally, on a horizontal level. Right now, Zabbix, our largest, deployments is all about hundreds of thousands of devices monitored by a single server with a bunch of Zabbix proxies. It's about collecting of tens of millions metrics. It's not a it's already supported by Zabbix, but still it would be nice to make Zabbix to scale horizontally on a commodity hardware or maybe cloud resources. It's already possible to have load balancing high availability for Zabbix UI. It's coming for proxies, and maybe the last step, which needs to be implemented, is a load balancing for Zabbix servers. Okay, so that's what is coming in the future releases of Zabbix. And I would like to remind you some important dates. Zabbix 6.2 next major release is planned to be released in May, June this year, pretty soon. 6.4 by the end of this year, and next long-term supported version of Zabbix is coming in the second quarter of the next year. So yeah, there are lots of things to do, and we are basically doing all our best to deliver all this functionality to you, to Zabbix users. And for those who is interested on where we are, what is planned, I'd like to tell you that all this information is available again on our website on zabbix.com/roadmap, when you can see very up-to-date information where we are in terms of the development of the current major version of Zabbix and our vision, our plans for the next few major releases of Zabbix. Once again, zabbix.com/roadmap, all information is available there. Well, thank you very much for your attention. And if we have some time, I'm ready to answer a few questions for you.
Well, thank you very much, Alexei, by the way. And I've got some questions here, and I just would like to ask you this question. The first one is, can you elaborate on event and problem handling and processing? I think you mentioned that when you gave the view to the upcoming Zabbix versions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So maybe I'll go back here. I think it's about event correlation engine. If you use Zabbix, you know that in Zabbix we already have a quite powerful engine when it comes to pre-processing of metric data. So you can pre-process in many different ways. You may drop metric, you may do some throttling, you may basically convert information from one format to another. And what we've been thinking about introducing a very similar approach. Of course, it will be a little bit different, but a similar approach to management and processing of events. All right. When you define a specific rules or kind of pre-processing rules, so that Zabbix would automatically take a bunch of events and do some transformation. All right. So that's the whole idea. I don't know if it could be a very long talk if I go deeper.
Yeah, okay, but maybe this is a talk for the next time then, but thank you very much. And I've got another question for you. And the question is, do you have a specific storage engine or storage engines in mind? I think that relates to also the possible upcoming features of Zabbix.
Well, yeah, there are many. I think our short list contains of about 5 or 6 different storage engines. I think anyway, from the very beginning, we'll support just a few, like 1, 2, or 3, but there will be ability to attach your own storage engines using very simple logic. So basically, it would be modular. If you want to attach additional storage engine, you don't need to touch anything in Zabbix. You would just deploy a module which would basically convert Zabbix API calls into native API calls of your time series storage engine. So we are evaluating actually our long list is about 10 different storage engine, maybe a short list like 3 up to 5 storage engines we'd like to support in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. So I have no further questions actually here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your attention.